Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're taking a look at 10 facts about the Witcher series you may not have known.
So, Geralt of Rivia. Place of birth unknown. Parents unknown. Age unknown. All insignificant details.
What's a tidbit of Witcher history that you find interesting? Share with us down in the comments, and let us know what you think of the next-gen update for The Witcher 3. I personally am having a blast.
Before we begin, we publish new content all week long, so be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Capping off the combat. Motion capture performance is often used in game development to help shave off some extra work for the animators while providing a sense of realism for certain characters. Why animate by hand when you can capture a physical performance through suits and cameras? CD Projekt integrated this practice during development of The Witcher 3, and they utilized it in a creative way by hiring a professional swordsman to perform various maneuvers. So the sword fighting you see Geralt employ is composed of actual moves used in the art. A place in politics. Ever since The Witcher exploded into pop culture with Wild Hunt, and later the Netflix TV series, the franchise has seemingly found its way into the mainstream and into nearly every corner of life, including the world of politics. In 2014, then US President Barack Obama went on to Polish TV network TVN24 and mentioned about a previous trip he had made to Poland. He recalls that in 2011, Poland's Prime Minister, Donald Tusk, had gifted Obama a copy of The Witcher 2: Assassins of Kings. Though he admits he isn't exactly fortuitous when it comes to video games, Obama did cite it as an example of how Poland has contributed to the global economy.
Donald gave me a gift, the video game developed here in Poland that's won fans the world over, The Witcher. I confess I'm not very good at video games.
Aren't you a little short for a video game?
Vesemir, we got company.
By 2007 standards, the first Witcher game was incredibly meaty compared to most of the big boys that were on the market at the time. Not as big as traditional RPGs, but still sizable nonetheless. And yet, for a game that takes a few dozen hours to beat, The Witcher did not spend a lot of time in development, only going through 8 months of production. Considering most games were taking a year or two to make from pre-development to printing discs, you just cannot fathom how hectic CD Projekt's offices must have been at the time. Idle chatter.
Thinkamere cares if I'm clean.
The gentleman will refer to His Imperial Majesty by his full title or not at all. The gentleman will be seated on the bergère.
The what now?
In that chair.
Jumping back into The Witcher 3, it is still astounding to experience a game that was so intricately crafted with various details to make its world believable. Many outlets fawn over beards growing in real time for whatever reason, but the weirdest yet most impressive detail we've noticed is in the NPC behavior. CD Projekt took their world a step further by including a wealth of conversations for NPCs to have with each other. It actually adds a whole other layer of immersion than most other open world games fail to consider.
Just so happens I need the Peller alive, so if you agree to leave him alone, for good, I'm willing to tell you how to help Edric.
Well, all in all...
Yes or no?
Fine.
A past worth forgetting. While we all fawn over the Witcher series on Netflix, this is actually not the first time The Witcher was adapted for film and television. No, we actually had a movie all the way back in 2001 called The Hexer. directed by Marek Brodsky. We won't lie, it's a pretty awful movie. The story is all over the place, and the visual effects are so laughably bad that it makes the live-action Scooby-Doo movies look like a masterclass in CGI. Worth your time? Probably not, but maybe a good choice if you want to laugh with your friends. Goggles not included. Even for a game as colossal as The Witcher 3 with its hundreds of hours of content, every work of media is bound to have some stuff left on the cutting room floor. The Witcher 3 had two very interesting mechanics that were cut from the game. We'll get to the other in a second, but the best known one was a sort of X-ray vision mechanic. With this, Geralt would have had the ability to see his opponent's insides, ew, and strike at organs and bones to inflict critical damage, also ew. Perhaps the power of modern hardware can allow this mechanic to be revisited for The Witcher 4 or even the remake for the first game. Graceful blades.
The meeting is in the baths. We will pass through the dressing room so you can leave your clothes.
Let's go.
Now, this scrapped mechanic was a bit goofy, at least from how it's been talked about, but man, we would have loved to have seen it make the final build of Witcher 3. While speaking at a panel during PAX East 2015, designer Damien Monnier mentioned the game once had ice skating combat during development. As silly as it sounds, we can honestly picture Geralt skating around as graceful as a ballerina while decapitating monsters. If we had to choose between this and the X-ray vision to put into the next Witcher game, this is definitely the one we would choose to keep in.
Alright, come on.
Strength in numbers.
Right now!
Even before it launched in 2015, The Witcher 3 was generating some obscene numbers for CD Projekt. For starters, developing The Witcher 3 cost CD Projekt roughly $81 million to make, which is shockingly less than the cost of most AAA games today. Even so, that $81 million is still an astronomical number, but what was more obscene was just how much code there was to tweak and go through during debugging, playtesting, the whole 9 yards. CD Projekt had to scrub through over 1 million lines of code and had squashed more than 5,000 bugs. For a game this massive, you know a few more bugs and glitches have fallen through the cracks, or at least there has to be.
I believe that is all. Your signature, please, affirming you stated the whole truth and nothing but the truth on pain of imprisonment or death, etc., etc. Here and here.
Just give me a few days.
Not much happening just yet, and there may be some time before it does.
Well, how about a game of Gwent?
Sure, let's play.
If you've already played The Witcher 3, you're likely already aware about the game within the game. We're talking, of course, about Gwent, the card game that captured fans so much they made an entire online game out of it. With its simple yet deep gameplay, one would think developing Gwent had to have taken quite a while to complete. On the contrary, it only took 3 days to conceive, flesh out, and program by just a few people. When the idea was pitched, they were told that if this card game was to be included, it had to be simple and take form of a collectible quest. The rest is history.
This was a stupid idea.
You're the one who wanted to play.
A raw deal made fresh.
His name was Geralt of Rivia. He was a witcher, a professional monster slayer. An unusual contract to lift the curse that held a monarch's daughter.
With The Witcher being as successful as it is now, one would assume author Andrzej Sapkowski would be swimming in cash. Alas, that's not exactly the story, at least not at first. Back when CD Projekt had approached him about buying the rights to make the first Witcher game, Sapkowski agreed to a small payment of less than $10,000. It wasn't until 2018 when Sapkowski filed a lawsuit against CD Projekt and demanded over $16 million in royalties. This prompted CD Projekt to renegotiate with Sapkowski and his lawyers in order to maintain the license, and roughly a year later, the two reached an undisclosed settlement.
Check out these other great clips from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.